The AZTEC, New Mexico extraterrestrial biological entity, from April, 1948 to March, 1949, the following conversations were held over an 11-month interval between various interrogators, labeled here as INT, and the AZTEC EB. These are reduced from many hours of recorded debriefing, and are included here to give the reader a degree of insight into the character and the personality of the subject. These statements are not intended to provide complete answers to questions. All transcripts of the debriefing and the original tape recordings of the same are available through special request, and with proper clearance, from the DIA Defense Intelligence Agency Office of Counterintelligence or the Magicos HQ, Code, Digger Command, RE, Project Aquarius. These may be procured through the ex-ComConNet Liaison Office at the Pentagon's Joint Strategic Objectives Staff Division, National Defense Section. INT. What shall we call you? What is your name in your native language? EBO. Now even that isn't easy for me because you will not get the phonetic pronunciations correct without practice. And I am not able to write it down for you because we do not use an alphabetic printed language that I could translate to English easily. INT. Why don't you try it out anyway? EB. Of course, Sethimus, or Setimus, or Sec the Mouse, will do. That is the first of 4 names I am known by. In our written language, this would be shown by a single graphic symbol that would explain my entire lineage. INT. Why is your written language so different from ours? EB. Why is yours so different from the Egyptian of 30 centuries ago? Forgive me, but that is not a simple problem. The group I belong to gave up any identification with any one planet, or its culture, before your people learned to make fire. There were once thousands of languages, both oral and written, in our many civilizations. It became important to use symbols to represent whole words and even concepts that all of us held in common. Soon your culture will do the same with public signboards at first. Travel and intercommunications of many people will always cause this to happen. INT. Why are you here? EB. Specifically to bring you these children. And we like trees. INT. Would you mind expanding on that? EB. Certainly. In what direction? You see, we would hate to see you blow up such a pretty little planet, to ruin so many nice trees. If you only knew how hard it is to make a tree from scratch. People are easy, they follow naturally, but not without trees, of course. Green things must be respected above all else except children, and are very much alike. INT. What are the intentions of your government by sending you here? WH sent you and why? If this isn't the first time, evidenced by your familiarity with English, why haven't there been official contacts made? EB. Sigh, in reverse order, what? And be strung up from one of those beautiful trees? Why? Because you sent us an invitation we could not resist, for our own curiosity, as well as safety. We sent ourselves, or I volunteered, take your pick. And we have no government, we outlawed it, or rather we outgrew it. I suppose you cannot outlaw a thing without laws, and those require governments, do they not? INT. I don't understand. EB. I know that. Try laughing. You still will not understand, but you will feel better about your ignorance. INT. But that's not good enough. Make me understand. EB. It will have to suffice. One cannot teach until a student wants to learn. How good do you want us to be? I will not harm you. We will not harm you or interfere any more than you want us to. We are only here to offer what you ask for in a manner we know you will accept, and you did ask us to come and visit. INT. When? Who sent for you? Who invited you? EB. Almost 50 of your years ago, you sent us signals. You were looking for us, and you scared us with a signal you should not have been capable of sending. So we answered. But you didn't understand our answer then, just as you don't now. We do our best to please others. When you didn't respond to our message to you, and you did not come for a visit, we felt that we really ought to stop by and see how you were doing. It has been a long time, and it was the neighborly thing to do, of course. Besides, it was right on the way to another destination, your world, I mean. You've been here before. I know. We were surprised that you had forgotten us. I don't see how we could forget you. Are you serious? Very seldom. But yes, your culture, which now dominates the civilization, did forget us. Actually, your people seem to have undergone a period of history in which you were so afraid of old truths, that you erased them in favor of religious fantasy. Some of your people remembered us orally in their legends, such as those who speak the Nahuatl, Narragansett, or Athapascan dialects. They lived where we last visited. But the high point of their cultures is long past. I've never heard of them. Not surprising, your history shows that the conqueror seldom preserves any history of their victims. I speak of the natives in this land mass, those called Indians, mostly on your eastern and southern borders and in the ribbon of land that connects yours to the southern continent. Navajos, Aztecs, Incas, the Olmecs and Toltecs cultures. These were all greater than your own civilization at a time when you were burning witches and killing their cats, which brought a plague that killed millions of your ancestors. Of course, you drove them mad and destroyed them with venereal diseases and smallpox, those you didn't slaughter for their gold. And your social pundits speculate and joke about why we don't land in front of your nation's Capitol building and shake hands. We are different, not insane. But we have changed. Western civilization is now the leader in this world, for freedom and humanity. Two things: first, we believe that, or we wouldn't be here now. Also, tell that to the millions of Hebrews your Western civilization has destroyed in the past decade, or the millions of Negro families whose sons died to stop the madman Hitler, but who do not have plumbing in their homes as we speak. Yes, you make progress, that is hopeful for you. But emotionally you are very different from us. Not primitive, that label would be pure egotism on our parts, but you are very different and frightening to us. We are trying to learn to overcome those differences before your runaway technology thrusts you upon us without choice. We have no space travel capability, how could we harm you? The person who sent us your RST message 49 years ago, 1899, did come from this nation Yugoslavia originally. Even our terms, you are very close to that point. Do you have small children? Yes. Well, they will grow up in a world where space travel is taken for granted. And before they make you a grandfather, Earthmen will be in space. All right, so you have been visiting us for some time. I have no choice but to accept that, even though I'd love some proof. But you still didn't tell me who sent you the message from Earth that brought you back here. Funny you should connect those two subjects. If you dig in a place I will show to you on any world map, you will find your proof. Unfortunately, I am now in the wrong country for this, but others of my people will instruct the proper government to dig there if you do not mind. You see, in a remote part of the nation you call Yugoslavia, we visited and helped the people there to build a very advanced culture over 7,000 years ago. It will be found. But there is a beautiful mystery in the fact that the person who sent us your first message 49 years ago, 1899, did come from this nation originally. His transmission was sent from near here, however, in the state you call Colorado. Can you tell us his name? Are there any other proofs of your earlier visits? Thousands of proofs, if you look around. The scientist I spoke of was an electrical researcher named Nikola Tesla. You are old enough to have heard of him when he was still alive. You know, I just thought of a very good puzzle for someone of you to solve. On an island you named the Isle of Pines in your Pacific Ocean, you will find what is left of a concrete landing platform we built there 115 of your centuries ago. You cannot miss finding that, since the footings we put down still cover many acres. Look for those if you would like to. No culture on your planet could have built them at that time. It would be fun for me if you ever locate them, because my great-grandfather helped to pour the mortar for them. Int what? How long do your people live? Somewhat too long, I think at times. We have built up our age somewhat. It would vary, but I was alive when your whole continent was practically a question: will Earth be able to communicate with other planets? Mark on the sea charts. Int what about these babies we found with you? Are they human? What are we supposed to do with them? Raise them, of course, as I would have done. Certainly they are human, perhaps more so depending on whose definition we use. You are too far away from understanding the whole science of bioengineering yet for this to be sensible, but just accept that we have sown the seeds of a rich harvest for your culture. And this will continue. They are only children, not monsters. But raise them well, please, because the care of children is one of a few things we do not laugh about. I remember this man, Tesla, you spoke of. He died during the war, 1943, but I never heard that he tried to contact other worlds. It was in all the papers, along with the story of how he was always being taken to court by his neighbors for creating lightning which struck their properties. Besides, when Tesla wouldn't answer, we sent a reply to your great inventor, Marconi, that we had arrived for a visit. Really? When was this? I'm sure he never reported it. You see how you hear, but don't really listen? Again, it made all the papers. We just arrived here in, 1920 or 22, it was 1922, and we sent him the letter in his own code. It meant that he had visitors. He told everyone that he knew for certain that the signal came from outer space, but nobody really listened. Well, after that we began to figure out that your man Tesla was way ahead of the rest of your science. Even by accident, he shouldn't have learned how to do what he did in his lifetime. Why did it take 20 years for you to answer Tesla's message? It did not. We answered it immediately. Oh. I see. Our arrival took 22 years, not 20, because that is how long it takes to get here from where we were when we got Tesla's invitation. So long. You took such a far journey just to find us, and didn't even contact us. As I said, it was on the way to somewhere else we were planning to visit anyway. Besides, how long or far is all relative, is it not, when we live as long as we do? And you do not see even now that we always live in space. We outgrew our origin worlds many generations ago. In fact, you have to try and understand that you're really living in space too. The only difference is that we left our natural planet and built a new home to go where we wanted. You did the same thing when you left your caves and built huts, and for the same reason. So it's all relative. But why not contact us after such a journey? Laughing, I am sorry. But you still do not see. We did contact you. We are contacting you, all to the limits of your ability to hear our message. I keep telling you that it is relative. Please. Laugh about it? I am trying to explain a limit to your perception which is caused by your limited perception. Do you see the wonderful paradox? If you say so, but such a trip has no purpose in our way of seeing things. Of course not. That is why we do what we do. Listen now, because this could go on forever if you do not. We are at home wherever we park our craft. It is huge by any standards you could apply. We are concerned because this area of space is one we cross regularly as a simple matter of course, like your campers who vacation at the same place every year. Suddenly we find our camping site threatened by bears. But bears are protected, you are not supposed to hurt them, so you must tame them or give up the whole vacation. Do you see that although you are a long way from travel to other stars, by our standards, you will be overrunning the whole area by the next time our children pass by here? Do you see why it is vital, unless you destroy yourselves first, for us to tame you now, before you come to us? Would you let savage headhunters roam the streets of a city without sending them to school first? We cannot interfere with you any more than you would interfere with bears in your parks. Someday we would rather you joined us, visited our worlds where we make camp, and joined us on our long voyage of discovery. Or not. It is your destiny, as long as you do not try and alter ours. Try and grow into our perspective, and all the logic you question will seem very reasonable. It is all a matter of scale. Centuries instead of decades. Someday you will be just about like us, and you will see. Some new, short-lived species will think you are a crazy metaphysical paradox too. And you will have to learn to treat them gently as children, without letting your egos get in the way. But with your science, you could make any world your own personal paradise. Why live in spaceships? Yes, and with our weapons we could take what we want as well. But why have your own world when you can see them all? You all covet land, a very old idea and only natural when the supply is limited. Just try to accept that we are in paradise when we are seeing and understanding something new. Our God is change and our religion is understanding. Searching for truth is our greatest social challenge and purpose. When you build up your age, this will become as clear to you as why you must breathe air. It sounds like yours is the ideal, perfect world. No. When you have more years, filling them profitably is a real problem. And the trouble with being a loving species is that you want to prove it by making more of your kind with a partner you love. Of course this must be closely regulated in a culture such as ours, and so relationships of an intimate nature are difficult to leave to one's heart. You speak of the heart being the seat of emotions. This is a concept we use on Earth, but we know it to be a sort of romantic fiction. Why does an advanced race like yours maintain such a notion? Well, I used that particular expression for your benefit. But why do you object to romance? Your species is driven by little else except romantic vision. Why not ours as well? Certainly our way of life must seem romantic to you. It does to us. We write poems and express ourselves with works of art just as you do. Many of the greatest works of construction on your world were inspired by a joyful effort of our people and yours, in your distant past. We leave these wherever we go. And you romantic creatures have tried for many generations to explain why such huge monuments to human engineering were ever built in the first place. Why, they were built to express the joy of living, of course. And the great sense of satisfaction our people have gotten from working side by side with yours has been one of our biggest joys in life. That is another reason for our being here. Surely even a small child can understand such joy. You keep talking about a message for us. Can you define that a little more? We simply are. We have no deeper purpose than to be. We do not wish direct contact with your people. You would reject us in your present frame of mind. So we seek to be accepted at the lowest level possible, and hence the broadest one possible. That is, as a cultural myth, we seek to be the next Santa Claus, to put it bluntly. This must come to your people, from your people. The understanding will be given you by the widened perceptive skills of these children we are bringing you. For your sakes this must not come from political or religious leaders. It must flow evenly throughout all the common cultures of the earth. The message is not that we are here, but that each of you can control where you are going. Be like us, or different, as you choose. But you choose, not your political leaders who believe that only a tiny percent of the elite can rule wisely over their masses, or those who spread fear of death in order to enrich their lives through religion. Knowledge is only good when spread like seeds from which wisdom might grow, and faith has purpose only when it is not created of fear. With faith in the wisdom of truth, and in each other, your world will come to ours soon enough. Our hope is to be able to receive you as friends and guests when you arrive. That is our message. You must do the work for yourselves. If you do, you will keep all the rewards. Infinity.